Hi guys, welcome to another video by Hartford Craft. Today we're going to be creating a 12th birthday t-shirt for my son. So let's get started. In order to create this design, I used a design that was already created in Cricut Design Space. I also used my Cricut Maker to cut out the HTV vinyl, and then I used the Htvront heat press, which you are going to see in this video. If you're interested in getting the Htvront heat press, I do recommend it. I think it's a great machine. Prior to using this, I was using a Cricut heat press, the Easy Press, and then I also had one of the larger heat presses where you had to pull down the handle in order to use it. I do find that this new machine is just so much easier, just pressing a button, having it come down automatically. You're not using your arm to pull down and lock the heat press in. And then with the smaller heat presses, I just find that, again, the same thing. You're using your hand to put pressure on to try to keep the design on. So this machine, I totally recommend. It's so much easier to use. And it just has been a really great experience. Before I used the design, I had to make a couple changes to the original. So I added the number 12 because it is his 12th birthday. I changed the hoop color from black to white. The t-shirt that he picked out was a black t-shirt. So I did need to change the color of the vinyl. And then I also need to, of course, make sure I had enough vinyl in stock to do the design. I also changed the name. It did come with an original name. And it's an editable design. So I just changed the name to his name, and then I liked it better with lowercase letters. So I changed that as well. Once I was done with all of that, then I went through and resized it to match the size that I needed for the shirt before I went ahead and cut it. So you usually have the design comes in whatever size that is made by the creator. So you have to go in, take the shirt, do some measurements, see how large you want the image to be, and kind of resize everything so that when you put it on the shirt, it fits as large as or as small as you would like it to be on the shirt. All right, guys, let's get started. Right now, I have the heat press set to 300 degrees for 15 seconds. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm just putting the t-shirt on here so that we can run it through the heat press first. This is going to take out any of the wrinkles that are in the shirt and just ensure that when we put our decal on, it is on a smooth surface. So again, 15 seconds, this machine is just doing the countdown, and when it's done, it's going to beep. While that is happening, usually I am setting up other things, or I'm cleaning up, or I'm kind of doing things in between while I'm waiting for the shirt to be ready. So now we're all good. You guys can see how smooth that looks. So we are ready to put the decal on. Yes, the t-shirt is a little bit warm, but that should be fine. I'm pulling out this t-shirt guide that I purchased on Amazon. I'll put a link in the bio. So the guide just helps me ensure that I am putting the decal directly in the middle. And I'm folding the decal in half as well, just to make sure that I'm aligned. If you can see right in the middle, there is an arrow. I'm blocking it right now, but there's an arrow that kind of shows you where the middle is. Normally, I would just kind of wing it and just, eyeball it. But lately, I've switched to using the guide just to ensure that my decals are kind of more even onto the shirt. So right now I'm just trying to figure out where I should put it. This also helps, the guide helps you to ensure that you are not too far from the neckline, or that you're consistent in where you place the decal from the neckline, especially if you're doing a large number of shirts, so that everything is consistent. So now that I kind of figured that that's the middle, I'm using this other ruler, which is actually part of my sewing setup. So this is just a ruler that I use to cut fabric, but I find that it helps me to ensure that everything's aligned, because as you can see, it has multiple little lines in the middle. So it just helps me ensure that the wording is good before I go in and press down the shirt. So right now it looks like everything is all set. So I'm just going to pull up the t-shirt to ensure that it's right on top of the pressing area, and then I will slide in the heat press, and then just let it go down for the 15 seconds. Again, you see me moving stuff around the sides. I am putting on the protector sheet. Usually you don't need it unless the vinyl is out and facing this and up. If the vinyl's out and can touch the actual heat press itself, but I do like to use it just because I use so many different vinyl brands and I don't always know how they're going to react to the machine, if they're going to get stuck or what's going to happen. So 15 seconds is over. I am going to take the sheet off of the shirt. I just shook it a little bit because the shirts are usually pretty hot. That looks really good, really great for 15 seconds. So the next thing I'm going to do is add the next layer of this design. So the first layer, the base layer, is all set. I still need to add on the top of the basketball, and then I also need to add on the number 12. So there's the top of the basketball. I'm putting back on this protector sheet. Now the vinyl at the bottom is kind of open. It's not being protected anymore, and the machine's not being protected. So there's a huge chance that it could get stuck if I do not protect it. I'm pulling out a second sheet, which you more than likely do not need. But I just like to be more careful, I guess. All right, so let's get that in there for the next 15 seconds. And I'm sure I'm in the background cleaning up. All right, all good. Let's see how this goes. That looks really great. So the final thing I'm putting on is the number 12. So as I mentioned, I have a lot of different brands of vinyl that I use. I do have some that I prefer. Wait, what am I doing? I do have some that I prefer more than others. Oh, I'm putting that back on because I just want to make sure that the orange on the basketball is stuck perfectly. I think that's what I'm doing, but we'll see in a second. In a couple seconds. So I do have multiple brands of vinyl that I use. So sometimes the results are not as consistent. Yes, I would love to use the same brand every time, but unfortunately, some are on sale, some aren't. Sometimes you receive some for free. Oh, you know what I'm doing? There's a second color of orange that is on the basketball. So if you can see, there's a darker orange and then the lighter orange. So that's what I just did. So now here is the number 12. So this is just kind of a scrap piece of vinyl that I had. And then I cut out the 12 using that scrap piece of vinyl, and I'm going to go ahead and cover that up and push that back in for another 12 seconds. I'm sorry, 15 seconds. And these designs do get pretty hot as you continue to go back in multiple times into the heat pulse. All right, that's ready. So when I went ahead and, so I'm pulling off that top layer of the vinyl. So as I was doing that, I realized that the design went badly. Um, like I said, I keep reiterating, I'm using so many different brands of vinyl based on what I have left. So This is one of the scraps. I was lucky that it didn't stick well, but it also I was able to you can't see how messy it is, but it was really messy. So I was able to use this Cricut tool to peel it off, and then I'm just going to create another decal and try it again. Hopefully the vinyl that I pick is better. Some of these vinyls are better for layering, some aren't, so it just kind of happened that we got unlucky and I cut out some vinyl that wasn't great. You guys see that I use different ones and different layers and everything is great. I will say that the Cricut HTV vinyl usually you don't have any of these issues with, but I'm not sure which vinyl that was. The new number 12 has been cut out. Here we go. Let's put that on and see how it goes. I tried to ensure that it was a different type of vinyl. It's really hard to tell, honestly, when you just have little pieces, but I tried my best to make sure it was a different one so that we won't have the same issue that I had with the last vinyl. So hopefully that goes well. Let's see how it goes. All right, he presses on and looks like I already turned it on. All right, let's see. Okay, I guess I didn't turn it on. That's what happens with voiceovers. All right, now it's on. Now it has gotten started. One thing to note about this heat press though is if you have it on for a while and you're not using it, it will shut off on you. So then you kind of have to power it back on and wait for the temperature to reach the temperature that you need so that you can put on your decal. All right, so far this looks like it's a lot better. So I'm just going to take off the protector sheet, the clear sheet. I'm shaking it up a little bit because the vinyl and the design does get pretty hot. So let's take that off. And this one is going to be a lot better. Everything is stuck on like it should be. So that should be great. I'm going to put the shirt back in again, just, with the entire design on there, just to make sure that everything has kind of like that final seal. Okay, maybe. Oh, I'm shaking the shirt a little bit. I think the shirt's probably like really hot. Or I'm just showing you guys the design. Either way, thank you so much for watching.